Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Good to see everyone again. And let's come into a comfortable place. Happy Sunday. Beautiful day here today on Victory Field every morning at 8 a.m., weekends 9 a.m. Join us at Mystic. Let's have the body come into a comfortable place. And allow the experience of earth to be felt as much as you can. Let the body soften into the ground. And then tap into the feel of weight. And see if you can experience the pulling from the ground, like a magnetic power pulling you down into the earth, while at the same time finding an openness, a subtle openness of awareness to the senses, the sense of hearing, sense of smell, the sensations of air or internal sensations of the body. And another openness, sense of openness to the spaciousness which surrounds and permeates our existence. Belly soft. Take in a deep breath and sigh it out. One more time. You can actually even open up the sense of smell to actually smell the grass, the nature. And open yourself up to your heartbeat. And soften a little bit more around the heart, around the chest, around the upper back. And just kind of letting your back body, the back of your heart, also open and soften. Allowing any constriction around the heart to soothe itself through breath, through presence. Two more breaths in and out. Wonderful. Let the body start to move on its own to allow for some linking of the breath and the movement. Maybe you are reclined and you start to stretch your arms overhead. Maybe you are reclined and you start to kind of rock side to side. Or maybe you are seated and you start to take some side bending, side to side. And let your body slowly transition you into a seated position. However you get there is great. And as you arrive into seated, start to rub the palms together. As you place your hands on your torso, maybe one hand can be over the chest and one over the belly, or both hands on top of the heart. And finding a sense of reverence to the experience of a human being. It's a very upbeat ring. I love it. And let's start with the sound of Om. Just first a cleansing breath together. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Wonderful. As you slowly open your eyes and come back to center, let the body find its way into table pose. In table pose, stack your hands under your shoulders and start to arch and curl the spine. And then at the same time, after finding some arches and curls, let the spine start to move in different directions. So for me, it felt really good right away to find a little bit of a child pose and continue to shift back and forth. Some of us started with cat, cow, arching and curling, allowing the neck to also be part of the equation here of looking up and down or rotating side to side. And I like to direct people to where it feels most comfortable to begin. The body is not always in the same kind of static way of being. We are constantly changing on a cellular level. And at some point, let the knees separate just a little tiny bit wider. Allow the right hand to come down onto the ground under the right shoulder and open up to the left, expanding the left arm all the way up with a deep in-breath. On the out-breath, shift that arm forward so that it's in front of you, thumb facing up, and let yourself kind of find a curl so that the elbow comes towards the ribs and you curl, looking down towards the belly. Inhale, arch, expand the arm forward. And on the exhale, let the arm rotate all the way back up into a twist. And thread that twist through underneath the arm. Let's do it again. Right hand presses. Left hand opens back up into a twist, in breath. On the out breath, the arm stretches forward and curls. Inhale, open up to the center and to the side. And exhale, thread it through again. And we'll do this one more time, inhaling, expanding all the way up. Exhaling, extending the arm forward, elbow to the rib cage as you curl. Inhale, elongate. Reopen to the side. And exhale, thread through. And you can rest here for just a couple of moments. Pressing into your right hand to really find that openness into the twist. And as you return back to the center, reopen to the side, and this time make a fist with your left hand and circle the wrist around. And in the other direction. Release the hand, take it to the other side, expanding the right arm forward and up as you inhale. On the exhale, thread it through. Inhale, open back up to the side. Stretch it forward on the exhale and pull the elbow towards the ribs with a curl. Elongate forward with the in-breath. Reopen to the side. With the out-breath, thread it through, getting into all aspects of that shoulder blade, while at the same time accessing the mid-spine as you reopen back into the twist with an in-breath. Out-breath, arm stretches forward, elbow pulls towards ribs. Inhale forward and up. And exhale, thread through. One last time. Taking it in. Out to the front. And elbow to ribcage. Curl. In, forward. Open to the side. And out, thread it through. And rest here for a few moments. Taking yourself out of the pose, eventually reopen into a twist. Expand the right fingertips all the way up. Make a fist and circle your wrists around and into the other direction. Beautiful. Release the arm down and take your time to into the legs. And you might notice that the tightness in the backs of the legs is pretty intense for some of us, and if that's the case for you, you might simply bring the knees back down and stretch the legs one at a time. And slowly walk your feet forward to come into a forward fold. And then take the toes outwards slightly to the side, heels in, and bend and extend a few times into the legs. And maybe in between a rocking side to side. Good. Now reposition the feet so that the toes are facing forward. Drop the hips, plant the hands on the thighs, and press yourself upwards. Taking two arms overhead with a deep breath in. On the breath out, find a side bend to the right. Back to center, and a side bend to the left. And then take your own variations of this side bend. If you like to have the arms interlaced overhead and that feels good on your shoulders, you can feel free to do that. Or you can let the arms be fluid, rocking side to side. And after you feel like you've had a few more kind of moments to restabilize yourself and find your center, find your feet on the ground. Bring your attention to your feet. Bring your hands to your belly and have both kind of hands around the belly so that you're just regaining access to that center, your core center, with the ground beneath you. The breath is soft. And we'll start to float, taking two arms overhead. Take a deep in-breath. On the out breath, bow, hinging from the hips into a forward fold. A halfway lift with the in-breath. The out-breath takes you back to your plank pose. As you activate the hands against the ground, press the floor away, lower the knees to the ground, and take a couple of push-ups up and down, warming up the upper body before lowering all the way down into your cobra, finding your cobra pose. So I like to take a few here, and then eventually lower down, re-extend the legs nice and long, and open up through the heart, engaging those elbows back, keeping the gaze down so that the crown of the head can pull forward. And remembering what each pose is for. This is a heart opener, but it's really like this strengthening of the upper back and the lower back. So you want to activate those shoulder blades muscles towards one another and really engage the legs. Slowly release back down to press yourself back up through your table pose to downward facing dog. Finding that opposite motion and pose. Pedaling a few times. Inhale as you press your hips back, belly to the thighs, look forward. On the exhale, either walk or float forward, coming into a forward fold. If you'd like to, hands on the thighs before rising, place them again and rise all the way up. Taking it in, arms overhead, breath in. On the breath out, bow, hinge from the hips, forward fold. A half lift with the in-breath. The out-breath takes you back to plank. Re-engage your core center. And if you liked the push-ups, do them again. Otherwise, either lower all the way to your belly or halfway through. And from there, if you lower it all the way down, you'll find baby cobra again, which is my personal favorite. Or you might take an upward facing dog, where you're pressing your hands into the ground and your legs aren't actually fully on the ground. The shoelace sides of the feet are pressing. The hands are pressing. The heart is threading forward and up to your downward facing dog. Deep in breath together and out breath together. Reach the right leg to the sky as you inhale. The exhale brings the knee to the chest as you curl. Inhale, elongate back. Exhale, the knee to the chest as you step forward for your crescent lunge. As you arrive with the back knee bent, and you tuck the pelvis under, there is this beautiful kind of setup that can start to happen, where you become aware of where your feet are at, you become aware of where your kind of body, how the stacking effect of the joints is happening, and where we need to really ground and where we need to soften, so that the shoulders soften, they're not doing the work, that the core engage, and the hugging in sensation towards the center to be felt. And then slowly take your time to expand the arms, either overhead or goalpost. So if you expanded them overhead, there might be an opportunity here to just simply relax through the shoulders. And if it feels like no matter what you do, you can't relax, you might just let the shoulders relax down, literally by bringing the elbows down. Take a deep in-breath together. On the out breath, dial the back heel down to find your warrior two. Make fists with hands to circle them. Maybe bending and extending a couple of times through the right leg. And then as you open the palms towards the heavens, reverse your warrior. And keep activity in that front leg and in the back leg equally. Take it in together. On the out, we'll cartwheel the hands down to find a runner lunge. And extend the right leg up and back into a three-legged dog. So the left foot stays where it is. The right leg extends all the way through. And some circular motions throughout your ankle. Now bring your right knee towards your chest as you come into a plank. Bring your right foot or toes behind your left knee. You might take a quick look at me, just like this. Now we're going to dial the left heel towards the right and press your hips back towards the back. Come back to the center. Release your right foot down and take a chaturanga all the way through to your cobra or upward dog to your downward dog. Don't worry, you'll have the chance to do that funky thing again. Just for you, Jeff. Bend the knees, press your hips back, look forward, inhale. On the exhale, either walk or float, coming into a forward fold. With the in-breath, two arms reach overhead. With the out-breath, we bow into a forward fold. And you'll flow back to downward dog. However you get there is great. Take it on your own terms, on your own pace. Either take some push-ups in between or not. Either lower down to your belly for cobra or not. And eventually we'll all meet in a downward facing dog. And once you arrive, take a breath in, the left leg rises up. On the breath out, the knee comes to the chest as you curl. Elongate back with the in-breath. The out-breath, knee to chest, step forward, Crescent Lunge. Take your time to set up your feet. Like you might notice, I'm constantly like moving the placement of my back foot because I don't want to be like on this thin rope where I'm about to fall. Really, I want a base under my feet so that I'm not like falling apart. And as you bend the back knee and you can start to really solidify this pose so that you're not arching into it and collapsing into your joints, but you're really stabilizing the pose with a structure, the integrity of the body, that structure. We set up the arms. Notice we're doing each bit at a time. There's really no specific perfect way. It's that we each have different bodies and the pose needs to be felt within the body. Take a deep in-breath. On the out-breath, you dial the back heel down for Warrior Two. And you experience the Warrior Two now. The strength of the warrior pose is in the feet. The back foot does not leave the equation. The front leg continues to support the pose as you come into a reverse warrior. So your weight continues to be in your left foot, in your left leg, with the same amount of depth in that left knee before you reverse the warrior. Coming back through the center, deep in breath. On the out breath, we cartwheel the hands down, finding runner lunge, and stepping back into a three-legged dog. The left foot will extend back. Feel the activation of the balls of the hands into the ground. Maybe bending knee to dial hip open if that felt good for your bodies. And then we restabilize, elongate the leg back and shift forward. Knee to chest, left knee to chest. Now you're in your plank. This is where that funky thing is going to come back. So take a quick look. Look at my left toes. They're going to go behind my right knee. Okay. Now we're going to dial the right heel to the inside, to the left, and press back. There you go, you got it, you got it. Other side, dial it to the other side. Dial the heel to the other side, Jeff. To the, yes, down. Other side. Come back to the center. And go all the way through to downward dog. Wonderful. Now, once you get there, take a breath in. Let the knees press back, press your hips back, and either walk or float forward to come into a forward fold. Slowly rising all the way up to stand, take a breath in. On the breath out, palms to heart space. Hands to heart space, to hips as you shift your weight into your left leg. Right leg lifts, knee to the chest. And you cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. Either stay here with some activity in the standing leg or hinge back with the hips and forward with the chest. And maybe you go up and down a few times, really getting to know your own balance and your own strength, keeping your attention on your heel, on the bottom of the heel, pressing into the ground. From here, we're going to prepare to find a warrior one. The right knee first comes into the chest. Maybe you give it a little squeeze. And the right leg slowly makes its way back, landing hip distance apart, facing as much forward as it's comfortable, and sinking down for your warrior one. Again, look, we're readjusting the placement of the feet. You guys can see that, right? So we're not on a thin rope. We've got a nice wide foundation. And with your warrior one, if you like and are comfortable interlacing the hands behind the back, you may do that to open the chest. Some of us might feel more comfortable with the hands at the lower back, the hips. Eventually hinge forward to come into a humble warrior. Maybe if those arms are interlaced, they rise a little bit higher. And then at one point, you'll release the hands down to come into a runner lunge, restabilizing feet hip distance apart. Allow the back knee to drop down to the ground and lift yourself up into a low crescent. From here, twist to your left and take your right hand up and over your left leg so that you can really activate that twist from the mid-back. Now release the left hand down and back up to come to center with the in-breath. With the out-breath, we'll twist to the opposite direction, taking your twist to the right, expanding both arms to the side. From here, listen up. We'll come into a side angle. First, planting your left hand on your left thigh, curling the back toes under to dial the right heel down, finding your way into that side angle pose. On the left leg. Beautiful. Feel the activity of the fingertips reaching you all the way up. while at the same time having the activity of the left forearm pressing against your left inner thigh and vice versa. Coming into your triangle pose, you'll extend through the left leg, lengthening and opening. And then slowly return back to the center. Take a deep in breath in your warrior two. On the out breath, reverse the warrior. Relax through your right shoulder as you inhale in your reverse warrior. And on the exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Plant the palms alongside the front leg and retransition into a three-legged dog. The left leg re-extends all the way up and back. We're going to come back to the knee to the chest here. Left toes go behind the right knee and wrap around it. The right heel dials to the left, so it goes inward to the left side and presses back. Yes. Press your hips more back. Good. Come back to the center. And this time, step the left foot to the outside of your mat. Look at me. Yes. Too much forward, Corina. Walk it back. Yes. Now take the right hand a little bit further out to the right so you can have that big, wide, open twist. Nice. Now you're going to either stay here or you're going to shift that back leg through to the front. Holy shit, right? Good. You did it, you did it. Yes, yes, keep going, the other way. Come back to the center. Step back to plank. And give me an elbows plank. Forearms on the ground. Tuck your tailbone under. Maybe your knees drop. Good job. Bring your butt down. Yes. I love how people know who I'm talking to. Keep activating those elbows against the ground, away from the earth. Butt down more, more, more. Yes. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come into Locust Pose. Release your hips. Expand your arms sideways. Lift your legs. Breathe. Find the upper back squeezing into itself. And then transition back to your downward facing dog. If you need a break in between through child pose, feel free to do that. And we'll make our way back to the front, either through a hop or a walking forward. Rising all the way up to stand, breath in, and breath out, palms to heart space. Good. So now we're taking our way to the other side. Shift your weight into your right leg, bringing your left knee up towards your chest. If balance is an issue, we'll just play with releasing and lifting. And at some point, crossing over and maybe bending and extending. So now notice how I'm pretending there's a chair that I'm going to sit on. And then sit back up. So I exaggerate even the drawing of the hips back. I want my right knee to remain on top of my heel. I don't want it going forward like this. up and down. And from here, remember, we're transitioning into warrior one eventually, first bringing the left knee into the chest. So here the left knee rises, maybe we give it a squeeze, open the heart, breath, body, length, and mindfully land that leg back, hip distance apart, and reorganizing the posture, the stance, to make your way into warrior one. Either interlacing hands or stacking hands behind the hips. Whatever will give you that heart opening, that like, so notice how I'm not collapsing in my lower back. So take a look. So I'm not going like this to go into a back bend. I'm actually drawing my weight out of my lower back and opening up through the mid to upper back. Finding your humble warrior, however you get there eventually. Notice if you have the tendency to collapse through your shoulder joints. And try not to do that in that. Try to draw the arms back and up slightly versus overhead. As you release the hands down to return into a runner lunge, feet are hip distance apart, back knee releases to the ground, and you slowly come up into a low crescent. Find your stability first. Maybe you shift your weight back so that the left hip's on top of the left knee. And we take a twist, a vertical twist to the right. You take time to kind of find the twist coming from the mid back. One more breath. And now we'll slowly turn to face the front with an in-breath. The out-breath takes it into your twist to the other side. Relax your shoulders. Yes, they're not doing the work. Let your shoulders be super soft. And now preparing to come into a side angle. I like to place my right hand on my right thigh first. Curl the back toes under. Dial the back heel down. And then go as low as I wish on that right side. And then activate arm against leg and vice versa so that you have this tension in between. Finding muscles to support the joints versus collapsing into the joints like a hanger, clothes on a hanger. We don't want that. Yeah. From here, taking one more in-breath. On the out-breath, right fingertips to right shin, extending the leg for triangle. So we're in the same exact position except that the right leg is fully extended without locking your right knee. Dig your feet into the ground and stretch your mat apart. Good. One more in-breath. On the out-breath, actually come up all the way to stand and have your heels go in, toes go out, and walk your feet towards one another a little bit more. Goddess pose. And pretend that you're, is my voice still coming through? Okay. Pretend that you're literally holding this beautiful kind of lotus within your hands. So the base of the palms are together, the fingertips are together. The thumbs are together. And we have this openness to the sky, to the heavens, right there, as if you're holding your own heart. And with the in-breath, activate into the legs to rise all the way up, reaching those arms up like an offering of your heart. And then slowly release it back down into your chest, sinking down into the ground. Beautiful. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. And out. We'll just bring the hands to the hips to prepare for a wide-legged forward fold. Activating, hugging in towards the center with the inner thighs as you bow. Allowing the legs to be super strong so that they can support the pose. And if you brought your own blocks, it's a beautiful place to use them as well. Take it 3 more long in-breaths and out-breaths, wherever you are. And then taking your way back to the center and walking your hands over to your right foot. Come into a runner lunge and extend the right leg back again into a 3-legged dog. The right knee comes towards the chest. The right toes go behind the left knee. The left heel dials towards the right, and your hips press back. The chest comes back towards the front for a full plank. The right foot steps to the outside of the mat. Toes are facing out. Left foot to the left just a little more as you twist. And you either stay here or you thread your back leg through. Beautiful. Yeah. If you're stuck where you are, just stay there. Don't try to figure it out. Come back to the center. Plant the palms. And it's all about kind of having some fun. You know, we're not serious about any of this, obviously. Taking it all the way through to your downward dog. Maybe you're allowing yourselves to find an opening of the heart and holding it. Eventually coming into a child's pose. The knees on the ground, hips pressed back. Two more breaths in and out. Slowly come on out of your child pose to find a seated position. And once you arrive into a seated position, bend your knees so that your feet are supporting your base, but they're not so close to you. You're kind of nicely extended. And then shift back so that you can kind of balance on your sacrum. You're still maintaining that elongation of the spine. A little bit of core work. Imagine you have a block pressed between your hands. Inhale, rise up. On the exhale, bring that block towards the right and shift back, balancing on your sacrum. You can even take that block if it's not imaginary for you. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, shift back, bringing that to the left. In, forward. Out, back. In, forward. Out, back. Now let's say you want a bit more fire in your core. Consider why you want the fire, if it's really honoring your body or if it's kind of like, yeah, I just want to kill myself. And if it's the latter, then kind of stay where you are. But if it's the former and it feels like your body needs more, honestly, when you come back to the center, see if you can bring your knees off the ground. And when you go to the side, see if you can extend your legs, lifting them off the ground. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 5 more. Four more. 3 more. 2 more. Last one on each side. Wonderful. As you return to the center, find your Baddha Konasana. The soles of the feet come together. The heart opens. The hands kind of support you behind the back. And then walk those feet forward more while they are connected at the soles of the feet. So this is where most of you are. I'm asking you to bring them forward more. And what we'll do here, what's happening, is that instead of gaining an inner thigh stretch, we're trying to access the outer thighs. So when you bow forward from here, there should be a sensation around the outside of the thighs, as if you were like in a pigeon. And if you don't feel it, walk your feet forward more. Now from here, I'm going to invite you to either come into a reclined figure 4 or a seated figure 4, crossing your right ankle on top of your left thigh, or you can find a half prone pigeon so that the left leg goes back and the right knee stays forward to the right. Yeah, so either way, either one is going to access the same place. See which one is you're actually gaining some kind of stretch in your glutes and your outer thigh area. Now flex your ankle more. Good. That way we're protecting the knee. Take any motions that you wish wherever you are, so that allows the body to kind of find its groove within the stretch itself. never hold a static pose in discomfort. Loosen up, breathe through, and then gain that most comfortable place in the pose. And this is a pretty introspective pose in that you can close your eyes and just allow the release that's happening at the hip level be felt. We hold a lot of emotion in our hips. And so let the emotion just flow without kind of trying to control anything. Just breathe. The question I always like to ask myself is what is here? What is here really? Because the content of my mind isn't really true, is it? It's not. It's based on a learned, conditioned thinking. But here is ground, and here is breath, and here is the breeze. Two more breaths. And as you slowly release out of this stretch, make yourself back up into your seated position again. And that right leg, whichever pigeon version you took, that right leg, just see if that right leg can actually shake up a little or kind of stretch a little. And we'll come back into the soles of the feet together. Staying either here for a heart opener or hinging forward. Making your way through to your pigeon on the left side. If you took it in a seated version, do that again if you liked it. You might notice one side is more troublesome than the other, or less cooperating. And setting the pose up in a mindful way, taking the time to finally rest in it, knowing that there is no destination for this kind of a practice. It's more of an exploration. Taking the pressure off of ourselves to get it right. And kind of noticing the process of unfoldment, being kind of the witness for it. And finding enough openness to be able to receive fully the sounds of nature. You can try to kind of soften around your belly area. Soften around your upper back, the back of your heart. And at some point you might even feel the sound of the bird in your own body versus going out for it with your ears. It's like a vibrational sensation. As if you had ears like throughout your body and you're listening with your whole body. Taking your time to release out of the pose, returning into... Actually, if you're on your back, stay there. Otherwise, we'll make our way onto our backs. And finishing up with a reclining twist. The knees can come to the chest. And rock over to the right. The twist can have multiple variations. I like to extend the top leg through to the side. But then that can change on the other side, depending on what the body is needing today. Coming back to the center to find the other side eventually. And as you regain yourselves back on the ground, let your legs flop wide open, your arms flop wide open. Hand your body down as if it's being handed down to the most gentle, soft, welcoming, open arms. I'd like to imagine here being in a warm water. The body can soften in that warm water. And here find an inner smile. Imagine that the sky itself is drawing in a smile at you. Inside your heart, you might imagine your heart smiling internally. Smiling at the magic and the futility and the sense of helplessness and power. Smiling at all the polarities, and the paradox. Finding your ground, literally, and also your inner ground. Sense of sovereignty, solidity within your own core. One more deep in-breath together. And letting go. You can decide if you want to join us for the close of practice in a seated position, or if you'd rather remain reclined. And if you decided to come up into seated, slowly and very gently roll yourself over onto your side. And lift yourself up to your meditative seat. Bringing the hands to heart space, to plant them on the heart. And gathering up all of our hearts together to join and merge with the one big heart. The one being, the one big heart, source of all life. And with a deep bow of gratitude and a deep bow of compassion, we join and close the practice with the sound of Om. First, a cleansing breath together. Inhale. Again, in breath. Oh. I thank you for allowing me to teach you today. The one heart within me honors and bows to the one heart within you. Namaste. Thank you so much. Namaste.